Yo, this can be a little bit different. I want to talk about politics. What's politics? If it's not everything that comes up, everybody's cornered. Who's the president of your country? That's what I want to know. Why were you voting for somebody out there? Well, if anybody, why weren't you voting for somebody in here? What the fuck? That's confusing. So, I had to smoke before this reading because I was going to come up with a piece of light divided and might as well keep coming up a piece of light divided, right? Fair enough. So, we have the person that was nominated to be the president, and we've seen whatever there is to see, and each of us have been on our honor since then, and before that, and through all the time. But the president isn't actually granted the chair, supposedly, until around January 19th, 20th, somewhere in there, 21st. Because those are all special angel numbers. See, 119, 121, 120 is as well. But it might be 123 this year, you know. It's always somewhere in that range, I've noticed. 111, I think that's when a frequent, or one in the last few years. January 11th. So, it's just us. Just ask the divine what the energy feels about the chairholder at this time, since we're all the chairholder. First card, we got the High Priestess. Guess who's always on top? Oh shit, look at that black cat energy. But right away she pulled, yeah, but we got the Peacekeeper in reverse. How are we making war on all these motherfuckers? They all are kids. They all are enemies. They're all up in me, and I can't get them out of my head. Let go of the need to be right. Well, I don't know what right is. Now I've already figured that out. That's why nobody can ever follow where I'm gonna be next. Because, well, then that means I had planned it out and it was organized so that I had to be right. Or is it what's right? Yeah. It's got I as a second letter. Two. That's a pretty hard one to figure out. It means what happens, but it's really just stuck at that time and place. And it has some measure on the rest of reality, but it doesn't at all. It's a hard one to balance what's right. But see, let go of need to be right, but that came in reverse. The High Priestess said, yeah. Who's keeping the peace? Who's the boss? Who's in love? Who's missing out? She just asked us that question. Each and every one. Well, maybe Dad will speak to these. Maybe that's what Dad says. Dad says, rawr. Turn that Peacekeeper around. Climb in this sack. You don't know nothing like a womb until you've been in my sack. Oh, Lord. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Divine Feminine deck. She throws herself on the floor twice. Before I even get to the whole deck shuffle once. She wants to point out how how her aspect wants to be defined, very importantly above the collective in all the minds. She's Khadija. She's the mother of believers. And if you've known it, you'd have touched her red gown many times and been soaked in your own blood. I'm spiritually and financially abundant. I provide heaven and earth for myself. And see how spirit made me like have a choke in the middle of that? Because of how my spirit's been aligned so that I'm holding on to the other end of the stick. So every time that it reveals the truth, I choke. But it's a feeling. It's a visceral, so that I'm always in the right time and place at the same time. So it's weird, like when other readers, when you're trying to read something and it comes up like, and it starts following your thoughts, then people get really excited. Yeah, but could you point it down to a number and a character and all these different aspects and then make it so that you show up in every single thing that you ever look at? You're like, there I am, there I am, there I am, there I am. Like, and then at the same time totally break it so that like nobody can see anything. I don't know. And then keep coming to one conclusion that, well, you must be the only thing in the universe. I hope everybody kind of figured that out at some point. And here we go. She's back with the bull. Inanna, the queen of heaven. I have nothing to hide. I see and accept all that I am. Well, I say she's the most faithful woman who ever existed. And I just know it in her eyes if I saw. But saw wasn't a, didn't she hold a was? Or if Isis holds the staff of power with Anubis' head, and that's the was, and how could she guide the future? Only holding on to everything that it came before, while trying to birth a new reality without a body. And everything had a mind of its own, but it was a broken mind of an all mind. But how to make it come together and not break down and continually grow. So it gives me a breakdown of kind of what's the essence of heaven holding as a face at this moment. So, but everything is mirrored and reversed and such, and so it has a very specific aspect, but everyone can see it their own way. Somehow it comes from my gathering of this. So we have the King of Swords here sitting on the reverse Six of Wands, which, since I'm such a natural know-it-all, and I only got major cards like I always do, which major's diminutive. Man, why do I always gotta be little? But little is bigger than me. God dang it. This moment here. somewhere. I have all these decks and not one book on tarot. It's kind of how it goes. I just know things out of the blue. So that's why I stay away from cards, because it's too easy. Until I know what I'm doing, if there's such a thing. Let's see. Well, let's see the king. Let's just read the whole thing. Let's see. So on the left, we got the King of Swords. He sits in judgment, holding the unsheathed sign of his suit. Whoever arises out of the idea of judgment and its connections, power, command, authority, militant intelligence, law, offices of the crown, and so forth. Yeah, that's the right place and the right time. On the Six of Wands, reversed. Okay, where's 6? Here we are. The laureled horseman bears staff adorned with laurel crowns. Footmen with staves are at his sides. Which is interesting because I have a lot of connections with things that begin with the letters LA and sometimes LO, but having to do with Laura, Lori, Lauren, Lorelei, just and Leanne too. Just so yeah, it kind of how everything that's attracted to us kind of creates a runway. And you got the King of Swords, so he's sitting here with his blade, and everything's lining up like it's almost like a rail gun, but there's like just it's inside out, right? And this is a double balance since it's the second card, and because of the placement in this reading, reversed, it would be apprehension and fear as of a victorious enemy at the gate, but that only happens when we can't see ourselves and we think that there's a competition, or we feel insecure around somebody because of something that we're holding on to. And that's why the King of Swords sits upon this, where it's really like the runway is coming up into him and out from the other side on 4. And it's neither pulling everything in or sending everything out. Somehow it's this multi-dimensional pulse that stabilizes itself inside as kind of a force that is like Pong, but in a 3D spot, like one of those plasma balls, but only like, say there's a billion pixels out here. Randomly, but not randomly, each pixel, say, is a human being, and it sends a specific frequency. Or if groups send a frequency, but then at that moment there's one speaker that, regardless of high, low, or whatever, that automatically speaks to the spirit off of the center beam, then gets highlighted for the moment and can send its signal directly. And so then at any time there's these pongs, but they're just automatically going straight back to themselves and then sending circuit connections among the group really quickly. And I suppose that's how a brain would look from the inside out. Then on our body card, but double divided on our 3-4 card spread here, the High Priestess showed up again. There's no way I can lose her. And she's a gravedigger. for all men, women, children, life, period. And so that's a great power to behold, the power to defeat and kill any, and also the power to endure, and to know that somehow that God could catch you strong enough that if you just put all your mind into it, somehow it's going to work. It's going to work because everything else is watching too. And so there's no like, what's the competition? Like, each of us only lasts so long on Earth, where there's only one mother. And when you're sick and alone, which is most of life, that's all you really have. And unless you can learn to heal through your own experience of trauma and become the hero in your own story, but truly try to maintain that, I guess that's the weird thing about choose your own stories, because it allows people to be able to be like, oh, well, I'm in a video game, so I could try anything. But at the same time, then in the real world, then where's that balance of where your morals are at? Or, oh, well, in the world, like, you're a certain kind of character, so whenever you play a game, you're always going to play that character. But it's neither of those, And well, where does that balance lie that can sit perfectly in any dimension and always, hold on to the source code and be able to pull yourself out, another frame? And so what's fear? What's separation? What's the division of the body? Especially when at that moment you won't know. You'll be gone. So that's the weird thing. If you die in your sleep, or you just, like, whatever happens, if that's the thing that kills you, that's the thing, like, you're not even there anymore. So there's really just right now. And so on the right hand, like I was saying about right, well, what's right? So this I call, in this moment, is about the universal fire axis. That I had only heard about that terminology, and there's a meditation for it in the Martinist order. And they're a subsidiary or agreement or whatever, a different house, balanced with the Rosicrucian house. And then you also have the Freemasonry house. And these are parts of the structure of the mechanism that's helped keep mankind balanced for so long on this fire axis in the dark. And so what's right will prevail.